Good morning, everyone. I'm Rev Katherine Economou, and it's my joy to welcome you this morning to our service here at the Center for Spiritual Living, Temecula Valley. I'm joined by our artistic director, John Foltz, and our practitioner of the day today is Woodward, who we're so grateful to have with us. And we're so happy that you've decided to join us this morning. You know, this is one of those weeks where I was just so happy to have spiritual community. And everything that we saw unfold in this week, which was a lot, I kept thinking, I just want to get to Sunday. It's one of those that, unfortunately, over the last number of years, we've experienced a number of them. But all I wanted to do was to get to this moment where we could connect in consciousness, we could come together in prayer, and in the love that is the foundation of this spiritual community. And so it's with that love that I welcome you this morning. And I think we're going to get straight to it.
We should get straight to it.
Absolutely.
You got a service. Let's do a service. In the silence there is peace. In the silence there is unspoken joy. In the silence there's release. From a world filled with chaos and noise, I awake to these precious moments when I hear all that could never be said. And right here in this holy silence, I find God, I find myself.
Good morning. In this moment, I hold my vision for this week, for this country and for the world, knowing that peace and harmony are part of the process of that universal presence that is God. So today, I see this as a good day. I see this coming week as an absolutely perfect week, built in harmony and love. And in that network that connects us all, I see our whole planet rejoicing in that peace and knowing that this is a good year. I see that for my spiritual community. I see this for my city, my country, and for the world. I am so pleased to be part of this wonderful, wonderful experience that we call life. I say thank you for that. I say thank you for this day, this coming week, and for all those who will join with me in knowing that peace and harmony. I say thank you, and I release it knowing that it is so, and so it is.
Thank you to Woodward. We're so glad to have you back with us. It's fun to have our practitioners with us. And Woodward, how many years have you been leading the meditation, the World Peace Meditation?
21.
21 years. She has been leading the World Peace Meditation that happens on December 31st at 4 a.m. And I just want to honor her for that. We're so grateful. And that beauty that you created in that service just oozed out of that prayer. So thank you very much. We're glad to have you with us. And so once again, I'd like to welcome you here. The Center for Spiritual Living Temecula Valley is an inclusive, affirming, open, and welcoming spiritual community where we know that the power and the presence of God is right where we are, that we are intimately connected to this essence that has loved us into being and continues to source and support us. And as we align our lives, our beliefs, our consciousness, our awareness to that truth, our lives reflect that. So there's more peace, there's more harmony, there's more joy and possibility. And that's the truth, the foundation of the science of mind philosophy in which we study and which we live. And so it's in that love that I welcome you here today. My best wish for each of us is that in this day we come together in consciousness and find that place where we can feel the presence of God within us and know that there's something greater operating than what we see happening in the world of division and difficulty and challenge. There's a lot of that going on in the world right now. We're not pretending that that's not true. But what we know is that there's something deeper, there's something greater, there's something more powerful revealing itself, and each and every one of us are part of birthing that into being. And so as we come together on this day, we sing together and we pray together and we commune together, we can allow that to come forward more easily and more powerfully, and as far as I'm concerned, more quickly. And so we invite you to join with us in this sacred duty of knowing truth. I also want to remind you that it's very strange for us to be doing service to a camera. So we love that we're on Facebook Live. We love that we get to interact. And so please say good morning. Jump on that chat and say hello. Tell us where you're watching from. Tell us how you're doing. And even if you've got prayer requests, if there's something on your mind or your heart, you can type it in there and it will make its way to all of our practitioners, and we can hold one another in this let's call them interesting times. I don't know what other word to use. These times are interesting. That's the blessing and the curse, right?
Kind of catch-all.
Yes.
Right?
I think that's, they call it the blessing and the curse. May you live in interesting times. And you know what? I think we're living in interesting times.
Sure, yeah.
But again, I'm just so grateful to be here with you and to be here with our beloveds here. And good morning, John.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm finally getting used to the fact that it's 2021.
2021. I was going to say, are you fully stepped in? Are you in yet?
I'm not writing it incorrectly anymore, so that's a big step for me.
Yay.
Yeah, the first week in my date book was like 20. No, that's not right, please. No,
yeah, that zero with the one in the middle of it's pretty common in my world too.
Yes.
That's
so,
great.
Yeah.
So here we are. I got to ask you, did you make any New Year's resolutions?
I don't do resolutions.
I don't either.
I do. I heard somebody say New Year's intentions.
That's what I said. Yes.
I heard somebody. Maybe it was
someone.
You.
Oh, right. I seem to remember that.
Yeah. So definitely.
Good.
Intentions, not resolutions.
Good.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's what we were working on. That's what we're working on as a community this month, is setting our intentions for what kind of year we want to create.
Yes.
And so we're going to talk a little bit more about that a little bit later. But I think we've got a song.
We do. It's all good, all good.
It's all good, all good. we've added this to our service as a spiritual practice to just pause and take a moment and just rest in this creative energy, this spiritual practice of gratitude. So I invite you to just pause right where you are, close your eyes, take a breath, and center into this moment. You know, even when things are challenging, even when there are scary things happening in the world and we don't understand, even when we're in the middle of a big challenge in our world, there's always something to find to be grateful for. And so I want you to find what it is this morning that you're grateful for. What is it that you can connect with and allow that feeling? You know, gratitude is a feeling to rise within you from the center of your being. Maybe it's time with a beloved, watching these beautiful sunrises and sunsets of the winter here in Southern California. Maybe it's that hot cup of coffee this morning. I don't know. I don't care what it is, how big or how little. Just sit with it for a moment and allow that feeling of gratitude to rise. Breathing into your heart space and allowing it to expand within you. Gratitude is a creative force that multiplies itself. When you start to see through the eyes of gratitude, you start to look for things to be grateful for, and you can find plenty of them. And so just moving through your day, awakening to the possibilities of things to be grateful for. In that way, we realize how truly blessed we are. And so I invite you to open your eyes back and come on back here, knowing that that sets the tone for your day in gratitude with me. And also, I want to share some gratitude for everyone who continues to support our spiritual community. That creative force that is allowing us to do what we do, to bring this message to you, allowing us to continue to better our technology and create this experience in just even better and better ways each and every week. We're so grateful that we're partnering together with our spiritual community for the financial health and the abundance of this spiritual community, and we do that through our sacred giving. And so I'm going to invite you to consider giving an offering to support this message, to give back to that which feeds you and nurtures you and supports you spiritually. And you can do that in a couple of ways here. You could do that through our donate button on our website. You could call our beloved Diane Keys, our administrator. Good morning, Diane, at the office at 951-304-0268. Or you could mail your offering in. Supporting the post office is still a good thing to do, you know. And we just know that as we partner together in this year, that there are infinite possibilities for what the spiritual community can do. When we go through rough times, it's important to have a place to come, to be spiritually fed, to remember the truth, to find comfort and find peace. And CSLTV endeavors to be that for you. We want to be a space of support through our practitioners, through our ministries, and through our message of love, our message of connection and of openness. And so we can only do this when we partner together to create that. And so with a grateful heart, I invite you to partner with us this year and create a fabulous 2021 that deepens this level of support for each and every one of us. And so I invite you to take your offering in your mind and your heart, and let us bless it, knowing that this gift goes forth to feed, to support, to nurture this divine message of oneness, of peace, of connection and communion in the world. Knowing that we plant seeds of what we want to see grow, and we do that in consciousness through supporting the organization that feeds us. I know that divine flow is God moving through each and every one of us, and as the abundance of our lives comes to us, it flows out to that, allowing for this channel of the divine flow to expand and to support us. And so I bless this gift. I give thanks for it, allowing it to be, and so it is. Amen. And so please join me in saying our affirmation of abundance together. Everybody? Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am prosperous now.
For the arms of God surround us.
Our spiritual reading today comes from our book that we're using for 2021, 365 Days of Richer Living by Ernest Holmes and Raymond Charles Barker. I have a spiritual vision within me which beholds a perfect universe. Spirit, as absolute cause, is the beginning and end of everything. If we place complete reliance upon this Spirit as being adequate cause, then we may as certainly place complete reliance upon it as producing the desired effect. When we pray, we are using absolute cause, which is the alpha. From it automatically proceeds the effect, which is the omega. Thus, the prayer contains the potential possibility of its own answer. Jesus said, "The words that I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life." He knew that because he consciously dealt with first cause. There would be no question about the effect. Our lesson says that a lack of realization that there is but one final power has given rise to the belief in many gods. Some of these gods we call evil, lack, want, limitation, pain, death. These false gods must be deserted, for there is only one, which is truth itself. We are told that while we cannot behold the invisible presence with the physical eyes, the divine eye I give unto thee. This an identical meaning with the saying of Jesus, that the spiritual things must be spiritually discerned. I have a spiritual vision within me which beholds a perfect universe. Daily, this vision guides me to success, happiness, prosperity, and physical and mental well-being. My spiritual vision is open. I am awake to the greater possibility.
Thank you, Anne. Spiritual vision, yes, that's what we are headed for today.
Now I have a new book to want too. I've never heard of that book before.
Oh, it's a good one. I'm going to talk about it in a little while. But first, we are going to welcome our special music for the day, our own John Foltz. Yay!
Yay! Hey, I don't know about you, but 2021 feels like I can feel a shift happening, and it just feels like such an onward and upward year. And when I think of that, I almost always think of this song. So hope y'all enjoy. Sing along at home if you know it. If you wake up and don't want to smile, if it takes just a little while, open your eyes and look at the day, and you'll see things in a different way. Don't stop thinking about tomorrow. Don't stop, it'll soon be here. It'll be better than before. Yesterday's gone, yesterday's gone. Why not think about the times to come? No matter about the things that have been done. If your life wasn't bad to you, just think what tomorrow will do. But don't stop thinking about tomorrow. Don't stop, it'll soon be here. It'll be better than before. Yesterday's gone, yesterday's gone. All I want is to see you smile. And
saw a little dancing in the
I
background there.
know, you can't not dance to that song, I don't think.
It demands it.
That was great, thank you, John.
Thank you.
So we're beginning our new theme for the year this week, and our theme for the year is Timeless Wisdom and Evolutionary Vision. So this is a program that many of the Science of Mind churches across the country and beyond are following this year. And I think it's a concept that will be helpful for us as we navigate this new experience, this new soul spirits adventure of 2021. You know, it seems to me that one of the things that we're charged with right now is to begin to try to make sense of the situations that we're faced with in the world. You know, there's so much that we've gone through in this past year, and a lot that we're faced with right now that I'm going to say it doesn't seem to make any sense, right? It doesn't seem to make sense. Why is this happening is a question that I've been hearing over and over again from people that I've been connecting with. Between the pandemic and the social unrest, the political divides, and what we witnessed just this past week, which, let's face it, was basically a domestic terrorist attack on our government from within. We're all being pushed. We are all being pushed into a deeper and wider understanding of life, of our country, and our place in all of it. So when things get complicated, or confusing, or scary, we're called to lean in on our understanding, on what we know of God and of life. And I like that as we begin this new year, we as an organization are focusing on the foundation of our spiritual teachings, on the science of mind and spirit philosophy. Because this is going to help us make sense of what we see out in the world and support us as we open to what's possible for ourselves, for our community, for our country, and the world. It seems as if there's so much division. It seems as if there's so much confusion, so much disconnection, and it can feel like everything's out of control. And that, I'll admit, it can be scary. But what we as people who study the things of the Spirit know is that sometimes what we're observing out in the world is only part of the story. Something is always emerging. Something new is being born in the experiences out in the world. And we, as we center in the truth, as we remember what we know to be the truth, that new creation, new experience may come into the world and come into sharp relief in a new way. Now, that's why we're going to begin with the timeless wisdom of the science of mind and spirit as our foundation of being. And allow our connection to the infinite, the divine presence within us, the God of our heart, to inspire an evolutionary vision that will take us and emerge through us and take us into what's possible for us in this coming year. So as I was preparing for this talk this week, I'll admit I was sitting and contemplating the events of Wednesday at the Capitol. My heart was broken to witness, to see the destruction, the anger, the violence that happened, and realizing that so many are so hurt and confused and frustrated on all sides. Part of me was angry and upset that it was allowed to get to this point. And allowing myself to feel that allowed me to move into the place where I could do the only thing that I could do, which is to go to prayer. Somebody had been texting me, did you see what's happening? What are you doing? What can we do about this? And I answered the only way I know how is the only thing we could do in that moment was go to prayer, to go back to the foundation of what we know, to see through the experience of the pain and the difficulty and the challenge and go back to steep ourselves in that presence. And what came up for me was that that's the only way that I'm going to remember that something greater is operating here. That's the only way that I'm going to stop myself from succumbing to my anger and participating in making more division, making more difficulty and challenge and separation. We're not here to make separation. We're here to remember and hold the space that there is something that unites us, not just things that divide us. What I remembered was that even though it seems as though we're so divided, right now we are not. We are all part of that same one human family. And the Spirit does not acknowledge political party, race, ethnicity, nationality, sexual orientation, or any other way we define ourselves. All the Spirit knows is itself in a myriad of expressions, in a myriad of creativity, and its glory is expressed in so many unique and individualized ways that are to be honored and celebrated. That's what we're here to do. But at the core, we're all part of this one life. We're part of this one presence and this one essence. And as I often say, we're all connected by the divine of our hearts. We are all part of the hearts and the hands and the body of God. So when faced with this situation, the only way I could find my center was through prayer. To remember. What we do when we pray in the science of mind is we remember. We start by a realization, a recognition that God is all that there is only this one presence, and that we are all part of it. That's the only thing I could do. And I encourage us when we see scary things, when it feels like something's out of control, we take ourselves back and connect with what we know to be true, which is God. There's one essence, one presence. That's the foundational teaching of the science of mind. And everything has been created out of that. We are made of the God stuff. And so when we go back to remember that, then we are open to that infinite wisdom that can guide us into allowing what wants to come forward to come forward. We can allow that presence to be birthed into this experience. That's where the timeless wisdom leads to the evolutionary vision. Because in our anger and in our sense of separation and in the difficulty and the challenge that we're seeing, there's no inspirational ideas of how to move forward. There's nothing that's going to support us, and there's no creative solutions in that. There's only the anger and the pain and the difficulty. What we're calling forth, what we're opening to is that wisdom, that inspiration that will guide us to a new level of seeing, of being, of knowing, of being together in a new way. Allowing that oneness to reveal itself. When we're faced, with something like this, when it comes down to it, the truth is that we all want the same things, really. We're not as different as we think we are. We all want the same things. We want to find peace. We want to find peace of mind, of heart, of body. We want to find our place in the world. We want to find where we belong. We want to live a life and find fulfillment, right? A full, richer life. That's why we're using that book this year. We want to care for our families and our loved ones. Now, we often do these things differently. We make different kinds of choices, and some make choices that we don't appreciate or approve of that lead to havoc and dissension rather than peace. But we truly have to remember that we have more in common than different. So instead of deepening the differences, instead of hunkering down and holding our perspective as the only one and fighting against everything that's different, instead of doing that, our job is to acknowledge the ways that we're similar and try to find a way forward down that new path of possibility. This is not an easy task, and it takes great work, but I know that when we awaken to our true nature, when we find that truth within ourselves, our interconnectedness with all life, we can find a new way. That's where the idea of having that evolutionary vision comes into play. When we can hold a spiritual vision of what's possible, when we can open to potential and possibility, we're inspired with new ideas new ways of being. Spirit speaks to each of us so intimately, so through that still small voice at the center of our being. God is always there to guide us. The issue is that many of us live in our limited minds and we don't open to hearing that wisdom of the Spirit that's there for us. We push it away. We give more credence to what we see out in the world instead of what we know to be true on the inside. We don't develop that spiritual muscle of trust and of openness and receptivity. We're being called to do that. We're being called to do that right now and in this year. We can allow the infinite wisdom to guide us in a new direction. If we could just learn to listen for it and to look for it all around us. What I realized is that it's challenging to have that vision, to open to that vision, to open to possibilities when we're not standing on solid ground. When we don't have a deep realization of ourselves and our relationship to God, when we've kind of let it go, right? Sometimes when something happens in the world, we allow the drama of the world to take us into a place of division. It's harder to find that connection. It's harder to stay connected to what we know to be true and to see through the illusion of the effect of what's happening in the world. Because we're not standing on solid ground. It's like trying to stand on soft sand, right? It's like trying to hold your standing or an uneven foundation or uneven footing. All of your energy is used to keep yourself standing, to find your footing, to stay solid. You could be in front of the most beautiful, awe-inspiring, gorgeous vista ever, and you can't see it because all of your energy is focused on standing straight. It's the same with our philosophy of living. Without an understanding of who you are as a spiritual being, without an understanding of your connection to the divine, you cannot open to possibilities in your own potential because you're on survival. When we are on survival, we're trying to find our place. You're looking at yourself and all of your limitations and your mistakes, all the judgments that you've held on yourself, and you can't see how life has brought you exactly where you are to create something beautiful and powerful and take flight and soar in your life because you're trying to make sure that you're standing on solid ground in your life. That you're not offending or you're not hurting someone or you're trying to get approval from someone outside of yourself. Trying to be something to make it okay. I like to say that you deserve to take up the space that you stand on. In this life, you are a God-ordained endeavor. You are God-created. You have been called into being. You're not supposed to live on survival, emotional, mental, or physical survival. You are here to thrive, to stand strong and stand firm and look at the glory of this life that you could create. We could get the vision when we stand strong on the foundation. So we are going to build, these two concepts work together. We're going to build that strong foundation. We're going to remind ourselves of this spiritual philosophy that supports us, that inspires us. Years and years I've heard people walk in the door and say, I can't believe you're saying the things that I've said in my head and the private channels of my heart for my whole life and I've never heard anybody else say. We're going to remind ourselves of that and build this foundation to stand strong on so that we can open to the glory of the evolutionary vision that wants to be made manifest through us. We are here to live that full life, to be a channel of divine love, to know the oneness of being, to extend kindness and peace. We can't do that if we don't know who we are. So these two things are going to work together this year to support us in building this strong, powerful experience of this year. As we've said before, we've chosen a new book for the year. It's This one, it's 365 Days of Richer Living by founder of Religious Science Ernest Holmes and Raymond Charles Barker, and it'll be in the bookstore in the next couple weeks. We're trying to get it in there. And I'm encouraging us all to get this book. I really am. And there's two reasons. One is this: it's a quick way to be inspired. Spiritual study is one of our spiritual practices that we encourage, and this is to just read a page a day. It's a page a day, that you could just steep yourselves in this philosophy of the science of mind in these bite-sized chunks, and you can take it, start your day with it, and it steeps your day in that knowing and in that truth. And as we do that through the year, it starts to build that foundation. The second reason is I love the idea of us all as a spiritual community being on the same page every day. That each and every day that we are joining in consciousness. Because as Jesus taught, where two or more are gathered, in the midst there am I. The divine consciousness, the divine presence is there when we gather together. That's why it feels so good when we're in community. That's why it feels so great when we meditate together, even if it's over Zoom. It's so much easier to have spiritual practice when we're together. It's because when we join in consciousness, that consciousness connects, and it allows that presence of God to be expressed even more powerfully. So I invite you to join me on this walk through this year, through this powerful book that's dropping things out of. And the truth is that richer living sounds pretty good right now, doesn't it? Having a little bit of richer living after what we've been experiencing over this last year. I think setting the intention for a richer experience could be powerful. And it's not just about riches and just material wealth or goods. It's not about the outside experience of it. Richer living means a deeper, richer experience in our relationships, in our work, in our creative expression, in our knowing and love for ourselves and one another. It includes our health and our well-being. Let's have a richer life this year. And I know that Ernest Holmes and Raymond Charles Barker laid the path for us to be able to do that. And so as we deepen our understanding of these spiritual principles and open to new possibilities, we not only navigate the challenging moments of our lives more gracefully, but we can learn how to make a big difference in the world just by being us. So our word has power, our lives are meaningful. We can work together to create this new experience. I love, I've talked a lot over the years about how much I love the story of the caterpillar turning into a butterfly as part of that spiritual transformation. It's a metaphor that I use often and that I love so much. It has so much meaning. And I was reminded of a story. There's a book called Butterfly by Nori Huddle, and she tells a part of the process that I wanted to share with you today. She says this: the caterpillar's new cells are called imaginal cells. They resonate at a different frequency than the caterpillar's normal cells. They are so totally different from the caterpillar cells that his immune system thinks that they're enemies and gobbles them up. But these new imaginal cells continue to appear. They keep coming. More and more of them, and pretty soon the caterpillar's immune system can't destroy them fast enough. And then more and more of the imaginal cells start to survive. And then an amazing thing happens. These little, tiny, lonely imaginal cells start to clump together into friendly little groups. They all resonate together at the same frequency, passing information from one to another. And then, after a while, another amazing thing happens. The clumps of imaginal cells start to cluster together. A long string of clumping and clustering imaginal cells, all resonating at the same frequency, all passing information from one to another there inside the chrysalis. A wave of good news travels throughout the system. It lurches and it heaves, but it's not yet a butterfly. Then, at some point, the entire long string of imaginal cells suddenly realizes altogether that it's something different from the caterpillar, something new, something wonderful. And in that realization is the shout of the birth of the butterfly. Since the butterfly now knows that it's a butterfly, the little tiny imaginal cells no longer have to do all those things individual cells have to do. Now they're part of this multi-celled organism, a family, who can share the work. Each new butterfly cell can take on a different job. There is something for everyone to do, and everyone is important. And each cell begins to do just that very thing it is most drawn to do. And every other cell encourages it to do just that. It's a great way to organize a butterfly. I love this. I love this. It reminds me of the spiritual path. There's something within us, right? When we start along this, we wake up to the fact that there's something within us that tells us there's something more to know. That we're a little bit different from the outside world. And sometimes maybe we feel alone and separate. Like our work doesn't have meaning, or we hold the idea, well, what can I do? I'm just one person. But when we begin to join together, to share the path, to pray together, to meditate together, we start to realize that something bigger is emerging and that we each have a part to play in it. This is what I think is happening in the world right now through each and every one of us. We are being called to find a new way forward. And this year we'll do this by steeping ourselves in the timeless wisdom of the science of mind and spirit, and using our spiritual practices to open to the evolutionary vision that is calling us to a greater level of being. Each and every one of us is one of those imaginal cells, and when we work together as a community, when we work together in consciousness, in presence, anything is possible. We could even become a butterfly and fly. And so I don't want us to be dismayed by the experiences of the world right now. I don't want us to lose that connection to God. I don't want us to let go of our beliefs and think that nothing is possible or we're headed in one negative direction. Because it may look like that right now, but more and more of us are waking up to our true nature. More and more of us are clumping together in consciousness and in spiritual practice to know the truth, to open to what is wanting to be born now. And we can feel it, right? You can feel what really wants to be, what wants to be experienced right now is harmony, is connection, is peace, is understanding. And if we can allow that within ourselves, if we can allow that within our spiritual community, it's as if that ripple just goes out into the world. We can be a light unto all those who are still seeking it. And we can allow everyone to wake up. And so I'm inviting you to join me on this new spiritual adventure this year. Not only about richer living, but about knowing the divine alive in your heart. And that infinite wisdom that is constantly speaking to you, loving you, guiding you to create a powerful experience this year. And so I'm hoping that you're going to join me. And so it is. And so let's invite our own John Foltz back up.
I'll join you.
Yes, okay, thank you. I'm glad you'll join me.
Let's get some thumbs ups and hearts and
Yay.
likes on that. Let's get everybody joining us.
Thank you.
When the road gets dark, you can no longer see. Let my love throw a spark. Have a little faith in me. When the tears that you cry, oh, you can believe. Just give these loving arms a try. little faith in me. Have a little faith in me. Have a little faith in me.
That's a great one.
Thank you.
Thank
Yes,
you.
by special request from someone we know.
Really? Is it me?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, just like, the same person that I heard that thing from.
Oh, yeah. It's one of my favorite songs.
Yes, it's a great song.
And that's such a great,
Wonderful.
there are certain songs, I've talked about this for years, that it's not just spiritual music that's spiritual, that
Right.
song, it hit me in a moment where I just lost my connection, and it came on the radio, and just one of those moments I had a spiritual experience of God singing through the radio,
Right.
hey, girl, come on,
Right.
I love you for a long time, have a little faith in me, and
Right.
so,
Oh, yeah.
perfect,
Yeah,
thank you,
absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, so stop crying. Okay. All right, so I do have some announcements. Our book study is back up and running on Wednesday mornings at 10 a.m. and you want to reach out to our practitioner Pam Migliosi for that to get connected. Our men's ministry is meeting every Wednesday, and right now I believe they're online through Zoom also, and that's Reverend Michael Summers. And our Sisters in Spirit group is meeting on the first and third Thursday mornings of the month, and I believe they're on Zoom this month also. So I just want to thank Pam and Reverend Michael for keeping these ministries up and running and connecting. And if you are wanting to connect a little bit more in this year, please reach out to them and join one of our groups. It would be a great way to connect. Our Spiritual Connection at 7 series is continuing. We do that every week, Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. Now we are starting a new mini workshop series on Wednesdays called A New Year, A New You. And I'll admit we were going to start this past Wednesday, but with the events of Wednesday, we went into prayer together to pray for peace. So we're going to just push it and start next week. So next week, on the 13th, we're going to start visioning for our year. The 20th, we're going to do a spiritual prototype. The 27th, we're going to create a self-care plan. And on the first Wednesday of February, which I don't know what date that is, we are going to put it all together and create a covenant for yourself for this year. So I encourage you to join us on Wednesday nights at 7, and that will be with myself and some practitioner friends who will join me. Also, coming up in February, practitioner and chaplain Suzanne Ward will be starting an online grief support group. It'll start Tuesday, February 16th, and it will run for 6 weeks. Now, and more information will come about that, but if you or someone you know has been dealing with grief and loss, we really encourage you to join us. If it's loss of a beloved, a change in life, a loss in your work status, your health, whatever it is, grief comes up for many different experiences. And this is such a healing, supportive circle that our own Suzanne Ward creates and runs. And so I strongly encourage you to reach out to her, and we'll have that information as to how you could get registered and sign up for that. And so with that, I think we're good to go.
Yeah.
I think we're ready for some prayer. So, and actually before I begin, I want to remind you that our spiritual practitioners are here for you. I know it's hard when we're not together, that we forget that that there's other ways of getting support when something happens in the world or in your personal life. So I encourage you to remember that our practitioners are here for you. And so all of their contact information is on our website, and they would be so happy to pray with you, to connect with you. And I strongly encourage you, if there's something going on in your world, prayer changes things. It shifts our understanding. It opens our perspective. It calms everything down and allows us to see a little bit more clearly. And so if you can't find that center within yourself, reach out to a licensed spiritual practitioner, because they're going to be able to know that truth for you and support you in finding your center. So, but now we're going to pray. So let's take a breath together. Just resting in this moment and remembering that infinite one, that divine creator of all life, that has brought forth all that is and continues to infuse itself, revealing itself in its unique expressions of being through each and every one of us and all things in every experience. God is present in all as all. And I know God is that powerful presence of love, that harmony, that peace, that creative force, that infinite wisdom, the one mind, the one heart, the one body is God, and we are all part of it. And so I know that we are connected at the core. We are united in being. We are a part of this one human family. And so as we pause and we breathe and we allow ourselves to become present, I know that that wisdom and that guidance, that love that Spirit has for each of us, that has loved us into being, pours itself forth through our consciousness, to us, through us, as us, out into this world. And we are inspired to create the experience of our lives as a rich, full, fulfilling expression of our being. And so I know as we deepen our understanding of these spiritual truths, the science of mind and spirit, the infinite, timeless wisdom, I know that we build a strong foundation upon which we stand that allows us to take in the infinite, glorious, awe-inspiring vision of God for us. And allow that vision to inspire us forward, to make choices for our expression, for our fullness, for our joy, for our peace, for our vitality. And I know we are sourced and supported each and every step of the way. For God is ever with us, guiding us, loving us, supporting us fully. And so I bless this week, I bless this moment for each and every one of us, knowing that there is peace in our minds, in our hearts, in our experience. I know that there is peace in this country. And there is a higher vision that takes over as those imaginal cells awaken to the truth of their being all across this country and across this world, as if they are lights shining it unto the world. And we align and come together in consciousness to create peace, to create harmony, to create joy, and to allow the light of God to shine brightly. And so I see this and I know it, I claim it, I celebrate it. And with a grateful heart, I simply allow it to be, knowing all is truly well, for God is here. And so it is. Amen.
There was a time in my life I thought I had to give it all myself. Didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. Didn't know the love of God was at hand. Now I can say, if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, you got to let it go, let it all go. And listen what you have to say. I release and I let go. Let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in spirit. Yes, I'm only for God. I release, I let go. Let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God.
And I know as we step forth in this week, we allow the infinite wisdom of God to guide and inspire us in creating a very rich and full life this year. And so it is. And so it is. All right, so thanks to John Foltz, thanks to Ann Woodward, thanks to Diane Keys, thank you to Tina.
I think it's Tina this week.
Tina hosting on Sunday. Thank you so much, Tina, for hosting our chat. And thanks for everyone for joining us. We love you. We're here for you. We look forward to connecting with you soon. Take care. Have a great day.